Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dream Drop Long Distance, a podcast about two best buds reconnecting by playing through the overdramatic soap opera of friendship and rivalry that is Kingdom Hearts. Mitchell, my God, how have you been?
Great intro, by the way. Loved it. That was amazing. The overdramatic. That was awesome. I was trying not to laugh. That was really good.
It's the same one I've written down. It's the same one I've written down last time. It is almost word for word exactly what I said a week or two ago.
I know, and I
wink, wink.
You did so much better than I did. I love it. But no, dude, I'm doing well. I'm doing really good. Well, I say doing well. Unfortunately, since the last time that we recorded, I am currently dealing with a little, just a little case of the old COVID. So, I'm just
the
old vid. Yeah, good times. But didn't want to take away from a recording. I know we haven't done one in a minute, and I'm feeling well enough to hop on and keep going down this little journey with you.
So today it seems like we're going to be diving into what is probably the best world in this game. Like every enormous moment that happens in Kingdom Hearts 1 happens on this world.
Which, it's kind of crazy, right? With the amount of worlds and characters we've met before this, just how expansive this one world is to the overall storyline of the game. Like, right?
Yeah, both in story terms and in just physical terms. We'll get into it in a little bit, but this world is just large by comparison to all the others.
It's huge. And before, we go into too much detail without giving the name. So to anybody wondering, so the last world of the game, and a huge portion of this that we're going to now, is the grim, steampunky, but also magical realm of Hollow Bastion.
Maleficent's Hideaway.
Mm-hmm. I was in Maleficent's Hideaway, where our main trio think that there's probably a key to sealing away the darkness and to protecting all of these worlds. And I don't remember, but I don't think they actually knew that Maleficent had anything to do with this up to this point just yet.
No, they do. They do.
Do they?
Hook told us about this world.
He did.
And told us that Riku took Kairi here.
Okay.
That's the main reason we came here.
That is what it was. The Hook conversation to me that was actually a little more detailed. I'm still surprised that she was kind of that close with Hook. I feel like he's one of those villains where she probably would have just been like, you're a bit too loony for me. Jafar, those kind of characters I could see her being a little more open to. But hey, who knows?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to she couldn't have known ahead of time which princesses of the various worlds were the princesses of heart. And in this case, we found out later on, or actually in the midst of Neverland, we found out that Wendy was not a princess of heart. And so Riku and Maleficent just lost all interest in Hook and Neverland.
Very true. Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah, Riku was legitimately just kind of annoyed. He's like, oh yeah, no, she's not a princess, dog. Like, we're not worried about this anymore. I felt like Hook was almost kind of offended by that. He was like, well, my girl could be a princess too.
It's true. Especially, he was also just upset about how much work he put into kidnapping her and how mad that made Peter Pan at him.
I mean, I can't blame him. Everything he did was for what he thought was a purpose, and then that entire purpose just went out the window.
Right. So, did you have any trouble getting to this world?
I really didn't. Are you speaking on the gummy ship traveling?
Yeah, because I know that early on in the game you were kind of avoiding the crafting aspects of the gummy ship and all of that. But I was curious if this would have been a challenge for you.
So this one, I did get close. First time I tried, blew up. And it was like, okay. Once I kind of realized how this was going to go, I had upgraded once back, probably around the Little Mermaid Atlantica level, and it helped a lot. And then when I moved into this one, I was like, okay, this is going to be tight, but I can get it done. And I think I probably got to Hollow Bastion with maybe 2 hits left on me. Like it was very close. Like I was puckering pretty hard.
That's one way to put it. Yeah.
But I was like, ooh, okay, looks like that was tight. But now we have the warp drive. We don't have to do that anymore. How about you? Did you have any issues with it?
No, but I've been pretty much upgrading my ship at every opportunity just to throw more weapons on it as I unlock them.
Gotcha.
And collecting blueprints, even though I never use them.
After you talked about Geppetto, I have gone back and I've picked up most of the blueprints, stuff like that. And yeah, I haven't even looked at them. I was just like, oh, cool, that's the cloud one. Never going to use that.
I know, I still haven't changed from Kingdom whatever it is that the ship is called.
Yeah, I think I did switch to 1 and then I upgraded it a little bit just because I like the style better. But yeah, I can't even tell you which one it was. I haven't touched any of the gummy ship aspects of this and probably 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you just put weapons on it and you're fine. There's no need to put defense. There's no need to put speed. You just put more weapons on and you'll survive just fine.
Yeah, the entire thing is how quickly and how effectively can you shoot things. It doesn't really matter how many hits you can take because eventually you get swarmed and they're going to take you out if they want to.
Right. So it's all about just getting rid of them before they can even get that close.
Yeah. But no, so it sounds like we both got there, relatively easily. And then you're greeted by this biblical scene of these flowing waterfalls on each side of you and these stacked platforms made of rock that are leading up to this giant Final Fantasy-esque level.
Absolutely, yeah. This lives and breathes Final Fantasy.
Which I think is awesome, because outside of Traverse Town, there's really no other level in the game like this.
Yeah. What did you think of the level design in the sense of, like, you take a bubble and it takes you underwater, but some of the bubbles don't actually lead anywhere useful. It's just there as a trick. So you have to explore a little bit by trying different bubbles to see where they lead. What did you think of all that? It seemed like a mess to me.
I think there was some unnecessary programming that was put in to try to add a bit more difficulty to it. I think they tried to early on show that it was like not linear as all the other levels of like go straight to this, go straight to that, attack this person, attack that person. Which fine.
That's true.
I think as we had talked about it before, that this, and I think I jokingly had texted you a couple times about how much I feel this level scaled in terms of difficulty. And I think you were the one that said, like, well, yeah, it went from a Kingdom Hearts game to a JRPG very quickly. And when you said that, I went, oh, yeah, this is very reminiscent of how JRPGs will just put things in places and sometimes they just don't do anything.
Yeah, and other times they do lead to secrets. And it's always, you're never quite sure which one it is when you're going in. No,
you don't. And so I didn't mind it, but I agree. There were some moments where I was just like, okay, why is this? Why are there 3 bubbles here if only 2 of them do anything? Or why is this one even going anywhere where it's not bringing me to any items? It's not bringing me into a different spot. And eventually I was just kind of like, you know what, I'll come back to these. I'll keep going up. Yeah, I don't know. At least like that first little spot, it was okay. I mean, I barely have gone in there since I originally got onto the level. So, I mean, what do you think?
It was interesting. One thing that I learned that I haven't tried yet, I just read about it, is that you can actually use Blizzard on those bubbles and freeze them and use them as a platform.
What?
Which I have never heard of before in my life, but that sounds incredible. I still need to go and try it. That sounds like one of those myths that you read online. Like, oh yeah, if you do that, and then I'm going to say this on the air, and then I'm going to go try it the next time I play, and it's not going to work, and I'm going to sound like an idiot. It's going to be great. It's going to be a real kids in the playground moment.
Holy shit! I'm going to go try that too. I did not. I don't know about that. I don't know if that is a thing. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I should have tried it before saying it on the air, but now I'm like super curious.
Well, we'll have to go look because I've never heard of that. So along with these floating platforms, rock platforms that to jump up to and eventually get up to the castle, there are these, probably Sora-sized bubbles that you'll jump into and then they transport you to these different areas that you can't normally reach via water. And it's just kind of like a little gimmick for the level. Nothing. It's not really anything special.
Yeah, it's just a weird like interaction. It really emphasizes the Final Fantasy-ness of it. Like this whole level, start to finish, feels like Final Fantasy X.
Absolutely. That is a great reference for this. Yes.
Which I guess it makes sense. They were both developed at the same time, or roughly the same time.
Which is insane to think about. This game came out then. And so you were going forward into the continuing on to this level.
Moving on past the bubbles. Mm-hmm. For one, let's just say right off the top, the music in this world is incredible.
Fantastic.
Oh my God.
It's so good.
The strings and I don't even know what that other instrument that's playing like the high nasally sound. I think if I had to guess, it's like a clarinet or something, but I'm not musically inclined to know. But gosh, every single piece of that little track and the way the strings are just hammering away at the notes, I could obsess over the Hollow Bastion soundtrack.
Definitely one of the better soundtracks in the game. It sets the mood and gets you into the tone that, like, this world isn't the Disney bubbly little actiony style that we're used to. And it's like, no, this is getting somber. There's some pretty maleficent things going on here. And
wow.
Yeah, I had to. I had it written down. Mm-hmm. And
I could tell.
And yeah, so we're moving into a different realm, and almost, I mean, to me, man, it almost feels like a slightly different game.
Yeah, the tonal shift is really that strong that it doesn't feel like the same game once you get to this world.
No.
But it's refreshing in its own way, too.
I agree. There's so much that changes. The rest of this game has been about teaching me the core mechanics and how to anticipate the change, and it'll start to be like, oh, okay, I learned about how to do that here, and this was where I figured out this fighting style works. And yeah, I think this level in itself is brilliant.
Really, the big thing that happens here, the very first thing, before you even get to fight any Heartless on this world, the very first thing that happens is you meet Riku.
Oh,
once again.
This scene, man. This scene. Oh.
Yeah, in this incredibly powerful scene, Riku steals the Keyblade directly out of Sora's hands through sheer force of will and power.
Well, actually, before that, we meet somebody.
Oh, the Beast, right?
We do.
Kind of at the same time?
Yeah, it's Beast is actually, I think he just got done fighting Riku, and Riku whooped his ass. And
yes,
we go and we're like, what are you doing? And Riku basically is just like, I have transcended you. I'm the one who's going to save Kairi. I'm the one who is going to, be this all-powerful and be able to fix everything. And he decides to show you how strong he has become, like you've said, by sheer force of will or heart, I guess, because he's basically saying, like, my heart is stronger than yours. The Keyblade is drawn to the strongest heart. And for a second there, Sora kind of wanes, and the Keyblade goes to Riku.
So at this moment, there are two things that I had in my notes that I had to harp on. So the first thing is that right before Riku steals the Keyblade, the thing that he says that makes me laugh so much, knowing where this series is going, he says, "There can't be two Keyblade masters."
Dude, I know. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, if only you knew, buddy.
So as an official new thing that we are doing on Dream Drop Long Distance, I would like to begin counting the number of Keyblade wielders witness in this game.
Okay, I like that. We'll figure out a fun way to incorporate that. I think there's something funny there we can do also along with just adding, because even we both know where this goes eventually.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know even more than you do exactly, not the precise number, but good God, there are a lot of Keyblade wielders that we will run into. Yes, but right now, the current count is 2.
Current count is 2. We have Riku and Sora. And you said you had another thing. You had 2 things, right?
Those were the 2 things. It was what he said And to begin counting, because the count. Oh my gosh.
Okay. We're officially at 2. And my whole thing with this scene is that right after this, Donald and Goofy, who have been your companions through thick and thin, through all of these fights, through all of these trials and tribulations, Goofy is a real one. Goofy is like the boy. Like, I'd keep Goofy on my squad any day. Donald can kick rocks. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, he's immediately just like, well, the king said we gotta follow whoever holds the key. So sorry, Sora, we gotta leave. And Goofy is just like keeps looking back, and you could tell he's just like, I don't want to leave Donald, but now I'm sad. And you just be like, sorry, Sora. And I'm like, damn. At least Goofy like looked back and thought about it. Donald's an ass.
That's the same thing I wrote down. I said Donald has no loyalty at all. Oh my gosh.
I was like, wow, Donald. All right. And then, of course, just the cherry on top, Riku throws you a wooden sword.
Right.
Which I don't remember. I don't know where he was hiding it, but he's just like, here, why don't you go learn how to actually, wield a sword? And Sora's just like, wow, cool, bro. And then Riku, Donald, and Goofy walk to the castle.
And it just leaves with you and the Beast.
Yeah. And, it looks like, Beast is trying to muster up the will to keep going because he's just like, I got to save Belle. Like, I know she's in there. I followed, her presence all the way here somehow because apparently he has the ability to do that. And Sora kind of is just like, well, because he looks defeated. He's done. And then when he realizes that Beast has been beaten half to death and is still willing to go, he picks up the wooden sword and is just like, well, if you're willing to do it, what am I complaining about? And you officially have Beast as your new teammate forever. That's right. Donald and Goofy can get fucked. They're gone. Nobody worry about them anymore. It's us and Beast for the remainder of the series.
Absolutely. From here to Kingdom Hearts 3, it's just Sora and the Beast. It's quite the tale. Tale as old as time, some may say.
Like all those famous duos, Calvin and Hobbes, Simon and Garfunkel. We now have Sora and Beast.
Absolutely. An iconic duo. I mean, I had posters of them on my wall.
Oh, man.
When I was a kid.
You had bougie. You had posters. It was, as I can picture little Kyle. It was probably Yugi versus Kaiba, MCR, Sora and Beast.
Yep. Mm-hmm, yep.
Classic.
I had posters on my wall. Don't get me wrong.
I remember.
I don't think I've heard a Kingdom Hearts one. I don't think I've heard a Kingdom Hearts one. Now I think about it. I had MCR. I had a SpongeBob one.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of a couple more, but I don't think I read Kingdom Hearts. That's a shame.
I don't think
I'll have to change that.
I don't think I really ever had any posters on my bedroom walls that I remember. Maybe some football related stuff, but that was about it.
Well, now's the time. You can change that. We're off track. Hello.
Anyway.
So I really enjoyed what happens from this point, actually, because it's a bit of a gimmick, but I like it as a gimmick. Because from this point, you have the wooden sword. And that wooden sword, as was shown on the Destiny Islands, is not effective against the Heartless. It does nothing at all.
No, it is completely 100%. You are completely reliant on Beast to beat anything.
Yeah, that was a really enjoyable moment of the game for me.
I liked it. I thought that was interesting. I realized very quickly they did not throw weak Heartless at you when they did this.
I mean, they went easy on you a little bit by not throwing like defenders at you. But yeah, other than that, they didn't go easy because those Shadow Ball, whatever they're called, Heartless, they don't play nice. No,
they don't. And they come at you in like groups of 4 and they chase you down a little bit. But I mean, Beast, he handles them pretty well.
Yeah, he was one-shotting them in my experience. He would just claw through them and I was blown away.
Dude's a tank, man. He really is. It's kind of crazy. I thought it was fun, being able to explore a little bit of the castle with him and, having to figure out how to rely on his strengths. And I like playing with Beast. He's probably one of my favorite NPCs to play with.
Yeah, I think it's just because he just has so much raw strength, even more than Sora.
Yeah.
None of the other party members that you've had available up to this point have had that much strength.
No, I mean, the only person I would put even close to that was maybe Tarzan.
Yeah, Tarzan or maybe Jack. I feel like Jack's melees are pretty good, but not nearly as good as Beast.
No, Beast, I mean, if you go into his inventory for his equipment, and it just says claws. And it's like, oh, he's about to rip some people apart. And he does a very good job at it.
Yeah, I think they did a fantastic job of representing the character here by just letting him cut loose in a way that I don't even think the movie properly let him do, because that wasn't the point of the tale. It was to be romance, where here, this is romance has gone wrong. Yes. Now it is vengeance. This is Taken starring the Beast.
Mm-hmm. No, it's great. And then you move into the first room that you go into quite a bit in the level. We stumble across, almost immediately, Riku again.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work that you have to do to even get there. You have to go through a dungeon with a bunch of puzzles to get through. But you get through all of that, and you end up back at Riku.
And it's an interesting little thing where, Riku is basically trying to break Sora again and just being like, I mean, I've already taken this thing from you. Like, what else you got? Sora's just kind of like, I know I'm good enough, and if I have to, I'll try to beat you with this wooden sword. And the Keyblade is like, damn, all right, man, that's pretty tough. And almost immediately, the Keyblade goes back to Sora. Oh, well, I say only after Goofy actually goes back to Sora and starts dogging on Donald, saying like, all right, come on. Like, we've been through way too much with Sora to just immediately walk away.
That's not how Goofy is. I got it in my notes. This was my favorite line of the lot. This is my favorite line of the whole thing. He doesn't say, "Oh, Donald, you know better." He says, "See you later, Donald."
That's what it was. He was just kind of like,
that line killed me.
He was just like, I'm going with Sora. You make up your mind, but if you don't want to, I'll catch you around. That's where I brought up that, like, Goofy is the real teammate here. No offense to Donald, but as of right now, Goofy is the only one I trust.
Absolutely. He is a true friend.
Yeah.
A friend in need is a friend indeed.
Absolutely. But, then Donald is just like, well, I guess you're right, basically. And it's just like, I'm going to go hang out with Sora and them. And I'm like, I don't 100% know if I trust you, but sure, come on back.
Yeah, and what finally moves the Keyblade back to Sora's hand is the fact that he's willing to relinquish it. He says, I don't need the Keyblade. My friends are my power.
And the Keyblade immediately gets like a full chub and flies back.
That is one way to put it. That is one way to put it.
I mean, it is a magical keychain-based chub, but it definitely gets excited and flies back to Sora like, oh my god, you are my Keyblade wielder.
If we have never given a warning that we're an 18+ podcast, today is the day.
Well, hey, we're in it, folks. We're in it. This is a new world, new language. Of course, then Riku gets pissed, and this is actually the first fight that we have with him.
Yeah, the first time we get to fight him directly.
Yes.
You get to really see his weapon in action. It's a cool one. Really is.
I mean, I don't think we found out the name of it yet, have we?
No, it's not even coming back to me trying to remember it. It's like maybe Dawn to Dusk or something like that, or Dusk to Dawn, but I don't remember it specifically.
That sounds right. It's kind of like a bat wing shape blade. It's blue with like the red membraney looking texture that a Batwing has, and it's a dope looking weapon. Like, it's one of my favorites. But yeah, I mean, he whips that out, and we're like, ooh, you have gone a little dark there, buddy.
No joke. Did you have any trouble with this fight?
I think I got him in the first shot. I didn't really have a lot of issues with him. He didn't really throw anything at me, because as long as you can counter him, he's not throwing anything like brand new at us.
Yeah, I think he was easier here than he was on the Destiny Islands, that's for sure.
I agreed, especially now that we've leveled up and gotten certain abilities and things like that. Especially Ars Arcanum As soon as I started laying into him with a couple of those, and it was nothing.
Yeah, I managed to breeze through it. I kind of remember this particular fight being hard, mostly because I saw the cutscene before it so many times. But in this playthrough, no problem. One try.
Yeah, this one fight kind of gives you some false hope for what the rest of the boss fights in this level are going to be.
True. Very true.
Oh my goodness. But anyway, so we beat Riku, or at least, we best him in this fight, and he takes off.
Yeah, he goes running scared, and he thinks that he had the power of the darkness, only to find that he didn't have enough darkness or something, and is tempted to go even farther, and seems to do so, actually.
Yeah, we're starting to see him realizing that he's trying to follow what Maleficent's saying and not give himself over, but he's also becoming a little bit power hungry. And hopefully, it doesn't come back to bite him in the ass. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
We'll find out.
We'll find out next week on Dragon Ball. Again, okay.
So after this point, after all of that combat, everything kind of takes on a slower pace, and you're introduced to the library. Mitchell, does this library look familiar to you at all? Have you seen this library recently?
Does it look familiar?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in games?
No. In specific, does this particular library look familiar in any way to you?
Outside of this game, no, it does not look familiar to me. Should it?
Yes. This library is where we saw the vision of that lady telling the weird story to Kairi.
No fucking yes, you are. Holy crap. I did not even realize that. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
See, that's what I was asking about, to see if you remembered that place when we saw it in the vision a couple weeks ago.
I completely spaced on that. I didn't even think about that. Oh, wow. Okay. So, So Kairi is officially a Final Fantasy character. Cool.
Yeah, something like that anyway. She called Hollow Bastion home at one time.
Whoa. Okay, cool. Yeah, I did not realize. Oh, man, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah, you just blew my mind a little bit. That didn't even register on my radar.
Yeah, that's one of those details that they don't take a whole lot of time to really give you. They want you to work just a little bit for that one.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome, man. But I mean, that actually, funny enough, I really like the library levels just because, you do get a little bit of a reprieve, and the whole thing is about, oh, hey, go around and see what books are missing. Where are those books at? And you kind of have to, if you find magic and metronomes or whatever, it's obviously volume 2 in this one shelf where it's not supposed to be. And then you find magic and metronomes volumes 1, 3, and 4, but 2 is missing. Then you put it there and it unlocks or moves part of the library around. And if I remember correctly, you do get some decent items out of this area.
Mm-hmm. Including the spinning areas. There's little spinning lazy Susans. There we go. Lazy Susans that you can spin around. Yes. And it's a kind of labyrinthian in that way. Not as in an actual labyrinth. It's not that big. But kind of reminiscent of the underwater channels that we've had to work through, little puzzles in our very, very recent escapades with the beast. It was just like the dungeon that we were in. Yeah.
And so that was kind of cool. But yeah, as you get done with that level, you actually find a save point, which thank God. And
right. Yeah. Finally save. And you've reconnected with your teammates, and doing so unlocks the White Trinity, which is pretty important too.
So nice. So nice. Okay. So question for you, because I got to ask, is Beast in your party?
No.
Okay.
Actually, I don't think he's available to us right now because he left right before Donald and Goofy showed up.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, he got distracted by a Heartless.
That's what it was. I didn't even see. I hadn't even attempted. I've tried to do this in such a purist way of not using the playable characters in each level that I didn't even look to see if I could get him.
Yeah, I think he comes back later. I'm not 100%. It's been a while since I played it. But yeah, he's not available to us right now because he got mad at a Heartless that was taking on the shape of Belle or something like that. He thought it was Belle, and then he got mad and disappeared.
Gotcha. Okay. But what were we going to say? So yeah, I guess we get them with the library level, or the library area, and it brings us into that top level that has like all of it's like the little, kind of like a little puzzle room. There's like a red trinity that you have to push to activate one part, and there's some lanterns you have to light, and then there's a switch you have to turn, basically to all get these heartless emblem pieces.
This was an incredible piece of the game for me. I loved every minute of this.
Really?
Top to bottom. This was phenomenal. I think because it reminded me so much of Final Fantasy X. But even setting that aside, I loved that moment. Like the pieces going into the wall to create the Heartless logo, it really made you take a second to think about the Heartless logo where you may not have bothered to think about it before. I don't know. It really like sealed it in my childhood mind.
Okay, yeah, I know. I can definitely see that. It was a cool spot. But it was just like this level in itself, this world, I feel has been so puzzle rich compared to the rest of the worlds that it is very refreshing to have that little addition of little bits that are making you actually think rather than just hit things until you get to another spot and then hit things until you get to another spot. There's plenty of fighting, but that's not the core as much as it is in other worlds.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't had puzzles of this variety since Alice in Wonderland, really.
I agree. I would say either Alice in Wonderland or
little pieces of Traverse Town, too.
Yeah, Traverse Town and maybe Agrabah a little bit if you go into like the tomb area.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
But definitely the Final Fantasy levels have been the secret holding levels for sure. 100%. Get what you mean.
So it's really been enjoyable, and it just like really cemented all of it in my mind. It made me take the time to think about it. Even reusing tropes that they've done before, like the little bridge that you have to let down to get onto the chandelier. You let that down by casting lightning on it, just like because it had a little lightning bolt logo on it, just like the door to the Mystic House in Traverse Town had a fire symbol on the door, so you cast fire on it. It's the same puzzle, but it was also nice, all the same.
Yeah, completely agree. It's cool. It's a fun one. So what happens? So we go through the door, and then I'll let you describe what happens after that.
So before we even continue, actually, what happens is a cutscene. So for one thing, Riku is running and is just like in fear, right? I don't think he had gotten the full power of darkness just yet. And I think it's really funny. I had it in my notes that just a little bit ago, like I want to say in Neverland, he had said, I had the power of darkness. Now I have nothing to fear. But literally right now he's running for his life away from Sora.
He got a little too big for his britches. He thought he was set, and then everything that he was planning completely went up in flames.
Yeah. But what's really crazy is that during this cutscene, the guy from Destiny Islands shows back up. The guy in the brown robe shows up. It says something along the lines of, the heart that is strong and true shall win the Keyblade. And just puts darkness on Riku. I don't know.
They still haven't told us who this guy is, so we're still in that realm of mystery. But he does. He kind of imbues Riku with what Riku has apparently been wanting this entire time.
The full power of the darkness. Or just power. He's just looking for power, and in this case, darkness is the route that gave him power.
Yeah, at this point, that's the only thing he knows, because that's what he was introduced to.
Right. But yeah, that cutscene plays. You go exploring through the castle some more. You get some more puzzles. You go up these crazy lifts that show you the scale of this map. Like, this map is enormous compared to other worlds. Double, maybe triple the size of other worlds.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, I would say one floor of this map is probably half the size of Halloween Town, if not more.
Yeah. Well, okay. Every map of Halloween Town except Oogie's house was huge.
But like but all of like the actual Halloween town and probably the graveyard area, oh dude, easily about the same size.
Oh yeah, as just one map of Hollow Bastion, yeah. Place is enormous and
crazy,
incredible,
crazy,
mind-blowing. Even, well, not mind-blowing even now, but just like incredible to think that they were able to do this on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, it's just nuts. But yeah, so you get through all that, and there's some puzzles, and we actually, one thing we can talk about real quick is, as we've talked about, the difficulty curve becoming very steep in this level.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Man, some of the Heartless they introduced.
No joke. Like the defenders, if you're not careful, they'll one-shot you from, or not one-shot, but they'll hit you for over half your health bar if you're not careful.
And so to anybody, so the defenders are basically, it's an armored Heartless that has this shield with basically like a dog face on it. What they don't tell you when you get into this world is that the majority of the new Heartless forms, so you have the defenders, which are like the armored, you have these floating ghoulish balls of pure evil looking things with mouths. You have these kind of pterodactyl looking flying,
those are wyverns,
Heartless and wyverns, and then the mages, the wizard character, the wizard looking ones. And I texted you this at one point where I was like, I think every single one of these has a crit / like a stab ability, if not one but two. And they also have some form of invulnerability during an attack. Like the wyverns, if you're not paying attention to them and they do that dive bomb corkscrew type thing at you, that's half your health immediately. The wizards, if you're low enough level, they were completely invulnerable whenever they started casting lightning.
Yep.
Like you can't touch them as long as they're casting lightning. And if you're not paying attention to them and this kind of fire hole opens up below you, it's almost instant. As soon as it goes off, it knocks you for about a quarter of your health.
Oh, I never really had any problem with that. That's interesting.
Oh, so annoying. And they also teleport as you're fighting them. So I would get into a combo groove, and on the fourth hit, as I was swinging, I would go through them as they were teleporting and they would disappear, and I would get so mad. Yeah, it was just like the balls have like a rushing bite attack, but they also will turn into this little ball of gas, and you can't hit them, but the moment they come out of that form, they immediately do like a rushing bite attack. And if you don't dodge it right at the exact moment, they are going to hit you. No doubt it is going to hit you. And this level, immediately, I was like, holy shit, they introduced minimum 4 types of Heartless that haven't really given the kind of challenge that we've had in previous levels.
Yeah, I will say at least the game gives you some sense of warning about that, because before you even go to the world, in the gummy menu, it shows you not only does this place have 2 stars more than any world before it, the color changes too to make sure that you notice that fact. They really want you to be aware that like, hey, this place is going to be strong. Don't come here unless you're ready. Not that they give you too many ways to get ready, but still, like, don't come here unless you're ready.
Yeah, what was the level? So just for an idea, what was the level? I walked in here at around level 44 thinking I was pretty set. Like, I felt good. Everything was fine. I thought my equipment was pretty good. And I was not even close.
I'm not sure what level I was. I know I've been a little higher level than you have just because, for one, I picked a different option than you did. So any levels that you want to do up until about level 50 are going to be slower than mine. Yours are about to speed up because of the one that you picked. The other thing is that I've been going around doing synthesis stuff.
Gotcha.
But yeah, this has been really tricky. Like, I've had to take time to just like stop what I'm doing in one place, leave Hollow Bastion, go somewhere else, which thank goodness we can leave Hollow Bastion. That's the one thing we didn't touch on earlier, is that until you get Goofy and Donald back, you can't leave Hollow Bastion.
You cannot. You are stuck there. Which makes sense, though, because they're the ones that fly it.
Right, but it also means that if you got here too early, you are stuck without a Keyblade. You have to just run around and let Beast kill things until you're strong enough to go fight Riku.
Oh, my God. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I feel so bad for anybody who went to Hollow Bastion, saved in the new spot, and then kept going from there. Especially back in the day when you couldn't skip cutscenes. Oh, my goodness.
So for anybody listening, if you're going to play this game, take it from us. Get to like level 45, 46 before you walk onto this map.
Absolutely. There's plenty of ways to do it.
There are a lot of ways, but when it gives you full stars plus they've changed color, do not take that lightly. This is a tough level.
Yeah. But anyway, we get through that.
Yeah.
We get through all of this, and we go through the final doorway, as it were, or at least the next doorway. And you see this interesting cutscene where Riku, or the new voice doubled Riku, who is definitely not fucking Riku anymore. Riku is talking to Maleficent about unlocking this super princess powered keyhole.
Very Sailor Moon-esque.
Yes. Yep. As we've mentioned before, Sailor Moon. Yep. Princess powered super weapon. That's the one. This is their big super weapon. It's a keyhole. They're going to open it and unleash darkness, but they can't do that without Kairi, we learn. Or at least we, the players, learn. Sora doesn't know that. Yeah,
because apparently, it was always assumed by us, at least up until now, that Wendy was going to be that, was that last princess. But then you realize, like, oh, well, Wendy isn't the princess. Who could it be? Now we're realizing it's been Kairi this entire time.
Yeah. So they're just discussing the plan from there, which it's kind of interesting because Riku, or whoever it is that Riku is now, is concerned about unleashing the shadows and unleashing darkness, where Maleficent is looking at it as, I will use the darkness to rule the worlds. It's kind of an interesting, different goals between the two of them, but they're both trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, it's like that idea of absolute power corrupting absolutely. I feel like she's had a little more level head so far about being like, I know this thing can completely take me over if I allow it to, so I'm going to keep it on a leash. Whereas Riku is just like, I plan on letting this dog out and training it and using it however I see fit, which is a completely more chaotic way of doing it, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a real contrast of lawful evil versus chaotic evil. It's a good point. The other crazy thing is that he still has a Keyblade.
I know. Which,
because he didn't have one a little bit ago, but now the darkness has taken him over and he's got a different Keyblade now.
He does, and it's a pretty sick looking Keyblade.
Yes, it is. Black and red, similar to his previous weapon's color, but also just very much emphasizing the darkness that has taken over Riku.
Mm-hmm. But I also love how they don't really talk about it. Maleficent doesn't look at him and be like, "Where'd you get that?" And he's found it. No, she's just like, okay then.
Oh man.
But then we walk into the hall, and she kind of tells Riku something along the lines of like, "I'll handle this" kind of thing, and we are introduced to, I guess, one of the real bosses in this level, who's Maleficent, who we've been, prepping for this fight for quite a while.
Yeah, it's really interesting that this is the showdown, right? Like, all this time we've been teased that Maleficent is the boss. Maleficent is the bad person. She's been the one behind the kidnappings. She kidnapped Alice. She kidnapped Jasmine. She's been taking all these things and manipulating the cabal of villains that have been taunting us all this time. And now we're fighting her. This is the big showdown, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is what we've been prepping for this whole time. And holy shit. My God. This fight. Oh, this fight.
So, I'll be honest, this fight went extremely easily for me.
Oh, get out of here.
I was shocked. I was shocked at how easy this fight was because of two things, possibly three, depending on how you want to count it. For one, I feel like just going magic was the way to go. I feel like I've made things easier on myself by going magic. But what really tipped it over was, one, I grinded a whole bunch, mostly because I was trying to get new weapons for Donald and Goofy. Okay. Because the wizards drop a staff for Donald and the defenders drop a shield for Goofy. I didn't get either of them, but I spent a whole bunch of levels, grinding through just them just to try and farm weapons.
Gotcha.
And the other thing is that I put a new build on Goofy because I heard about this build. I'm not smart enough to have come up with this on my own. I do not come up with JRPG builds. You might notice in Goofy's skill tree that he has a lot of MP boosting skills.
Yep.
And he has a skill called MP Gift, which costs him 2 MP and to give you or Donald 3 MP.
It is after we had talked about it, because from me how hard I had with this fight. This was, oh man, I would say I'd say I fought her about 8 to 9 times.
Whoa.
Before I finally went, okay, have to change tactics. This is miserable. And I couldn't whittle her down. And I was having trouble with these, because the core of this first fight is Maleficent is standing on top of this floating pedestal. You have 2 options. You can either keep wailing on her, but the best way for me that I found to do it is as you attack her floating pedestal, once you get it down to a certain health, it drops to the ground. She can't move around. And for some reason, she never gets off of it. And you can just keep whacking on her. But she will surround herself with guardians who will attack you, which, gives you an opportunity to heal and to gain MP back. But while she's also doing that, she is casting a rather strong lightning spell and also a rather strong meteor-based spell that comes out of nowhere and just starts shooting giant blue rocks at you. Man, I just couldn't whittle her down. My guys kept dropping quicker than I can get them up. So I went, okay, back to the drawing board. I looked into the MP Rage ability as well, and everybody I saw and talked to was like, yes, magic-based builds for these 2 are the way to go for this fight, only because you have to figure out a way to keep them up while also keeping yourself boosted. Otherwise, Maleficent isn't possible, unless you're like 20 levels over to what you normally would fight her at. The other thing that I did, because it sounds like you figured it out, were able to beat her pretty easily, I got to about level 47 and was like, okay, I still can't beat her very easily. So I went back, much like one of our favorite heroes from our childhood, Goku, and I went to another world, and I trained up to about level 51 until I was pretty decently overpowered for this fight.
I love that you went to another world for it, because that really does make you Goku, doesn't it?
It does. I felt like, and I went, you know where I went? I went to the Colosseum.
Of course. Yes. Some Colosseum trips were definitely in order for this whole spiel.
It needed it. I went from about level 46 to level 51 in the Colosseum, replaying the Hercules Cup. Finally beat Hercules, and I am gifted. And have you beaten the Hercules Cup yet?
I have. I did it. I actually did all 3. I entered together, I entered solo, and I did the time trial. It's really funny that you bring this, that you asked me, because I think I took a clip of it too. I finished the time trial version of the Hercules Cup with 0.01 second on the clock.
Ever. Okay. Well, you're going to have to send me that, because that's insane.
I didn't believe it either. I was like, crap, I'm going to run out of time. This sucks so much. I'm going to have to do this whole thing all over again. And then I beat him with 0.01. I'm like, what?
That's hilarious. Holy crap. But no, so I beat him, and you're gifted the Olympia Keyblade, which my favorite thus far. Overall, it is a really strong Keyblade from what I was using, which was the Tinkerbell, like Fairy Queen or something like that one. It's quite an upgrade in terms of overall strength. It doesn't give any kind of like an MP boost, which I was like, I'm not really too worried about that. That's not really anything that I am like too stuck on, because I'm not a very large magic user. But then I wound up actually changing my build a bit for this one, because you actually do need a bit of magic. But it's an awesome looking Keyblade. I mean, it's very Greek cloud oriented. It's got Hercules' name written on it with like Zeus's symbol on the keychain. It is a +9 strength weapon with a 1.5 times critical hit chance, which amazing.
Ooh,
like I said, it's a huge upgrade from the Keyblades I had originally. And then you also not only get that, you get a shield for Goofy that is really good as well. It was Herc's shield. It gives a +9 to his strength as well. And it's basically that getting both of those just allows both you and Goofy to be a bit more Mauler type, which I love. Also, whenever you use the White Trinity mark at the Colosseum gates, you get, as of right now, my favorite Donald rod, which is the Violetta. I don't know if you have that one.
Yeah, I do.
So the Violetta is this beautiful purple reddish staff with a red rose on the tip, and it gives Donald a +9 to strength. It does take away 1 MP, which I'm like, okay, it's but I also have been building Donald as a bit more of a bruiser with about a 7 to his magic, because I'm not as worried about if he can keep me up and keep arrow boosted. I'm completely fine with that, but I'm trying to make him less squishy because I like both of my guys to be slightly more frontline fighters.
Man, that's so interesting. We're running opposite builds. It's really interesting to listen to it, to be honest with you.
It is. And like I've heard, I hear about how you do it, because to me, once I got to about level 51 and we got those items, man, I went back and I'm talking, we bulldozed our way through this Maleficent fight. It was not even close. She did not stand a chance. Like, I'm talking, it did not take long for us to take down her pedestal. The Guardians at that point, I mean, it was like 2 full sword combos to take them down. The guys were able to actually stay up during the fight. I mean, they went down a couple times, but it wasn't like it was originally. And so, it was probably 13 fights before I beat her, but we finally beat her.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of went for it and won. It's that whole thing where Goofy's MP gift and his MP rage and just every single MP thing, right? When big attacks would hit him, like the meteors, for example, or some of the things that happen in the next fight, but we'll talk about that. Anything that would hit Goofy would recharge 1 or more bars of MP for him. So he'd be able to just almost immediately start giving that back. So all I had to do was keep myself up and keep him up. Because if I could keep Goofy up, then Goofy would keep Donald and I both healthy.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. I mean, that's so funny. I feel like you found a system of keeping each other up, whereas I was just like stubborn and said, no, I'm just going to hit her until she goes down.
Yeah. Which, that's fair, though. Whatever works for you.
It tracks for our play styles.
It does. I used to play the same way. I intentionally chose to play it differently this time. Like when we play Kingdom Hearts 3, I think I'm going to run the playthrough that you're doing, like full physical, screw magic. But for right now, I'm sticking with magic.
Honestly, I might try the opposite as well. I think, playing a bruiser is fun, but there's just something about, I don't know. Occasionally it's fun to be a spellcaster. But yeah, so we get done with that fight, and I mean, what happens, Kyle?
Well, for one thing, praise the game designers. You get a save spot. You beat Maleficent and they let you save right then and there. Heal back up and save.
Yeah, I mean, I was very surprised they gave you one right there.
If they didn't, I would have backtracked. I would have backtracked my way all the way back down the castle. I would have walked all the way and got myself to a save spot because I needed one because I did not want to have to do that fight again just in case.
Yep. I completely agree.
You get the save spot, and if you're ready for the next phase, you can go through the door. And at this point, or perhaps in a cutscene right before, something like that, you see that Riku walks up to the defeated Maleficent and takes his special keyblade, as he calls it, that can unlock people's hearts. And he just fucking stabs her.
In the chest. Like, no chill. Just like, come here and just... And you could see it in her face. She's like, what the fuck? And he's just like, yeah. He's like, we're about to get... He's like, I just went medieval. And I remember when I was a kid, I was like, yo, whoa, what are you doing? I mean, he unlocks her darkness. After realizing what he's done, she then transforms into her true form. And what I've read is apparently what a lot of people consider one of the hardest fights in the game is that she turns into her giant black and green dragon form.
Which shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody who has seen the movie, but I had not seen the movie when I was a young lad.
Oh,
I was playing this game, so I was like, she's a dragon now? What's going on? I'm so confused. I didn't watch that movie until this year.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, that's like a whole thing at the end of the movie is that like Prince Charming has to go or Prince Eric or whatever his name is has to go and fight the dragon versus a Maleficent.
Which, oh my gosh, and you don't even have fairy godmothers to try and help you here. You're just on your own in this fight. You've got a duck and a dog to hope that you can get through.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I got to ask, how difficult was it for you?
One try.
Okay, I'm glad because I one-shot it as well.
Yeah, I think we both kind of got over-leveled for it, but I also credit much of it to switching Goofy to that new build because I swear to you, every time a tail would go by, she would smack the shit out of Goofy and Goofy would lose half his health bar, but he'd go up 2 MP, which is plenty enough to give either me or Donald 3 MP. So one of us would bring Goofy back up. So I spent a lot of time healing, but other than that, I would just be smashing the heck out of her dragon face.
Yeah, like Goofy, once I gave him that shield and leveled him up, I've also been giving him a bunch of defense ups during this entire time, so he's kind of a wall.
Okay.
Yeah, he is quite a wall.
Wow, I've been using all of mine on Sora because I know that after a certain point, they stop being effective, and when that time comes, then I'll start using them on Goofy. I think I used some AP ups on Goofy, but that's about it. Like, all the HP ups and attack ups and defense ups, those have all been going to Sora.
Yeah, I'd been giving a lot of that stuff to Sora, but leaving Goofy as like my overall tank. And it's been going great, especially, dude, that new Herc shield just made him, like, I mean, she would hit him with a tail and maybe it would take a quarter of his health.
Wow.
And then Donald, it was crazy. And then Donald would be able to heal him pretty sufficiently. Her stomp really wasn't an issue. Her flame didn't honestly do as much damage as I thought it was going to, especially because I was in the air for quite a bit of the fight. As long as you're in the air for the majority of the fight, there really was only a couple times I was like, ooh, getting kind of dicey. I should run away real quick. But other than that, I didn't find it was even that hard of a fight.
Yeah. I mean, I could see the challenge of it just because her attacks were so strong, but I had enough resources to overcome that. And yeah, it was a good fight though. I still enjoyed it, but I feel like I should go back and try it again when it's difficult because I feel like I made it almost too easy to the point that I didn't have to think about the difficulty and the things that she was doing.
I agree. Because, I mean, my thing is, I feel like if I hadn't gone and over-leveled a bit to be able to fight this, which, I mean, that's a JRPG. Most people, you go and work hard to come back and beat the boss. That's what these games are. Unless you're just a masochist and you're like, I'm going to try to fight him at level 1, which you're crazy.
Let me solo her.
Oh, good God. But to be able to take her on, I mean, she's got a tail weapon, a flame breath that has an area of effect, and then also a chomp, and then also a pretty relentless amount where she will stomp, and it also has an area of effect. She's a monster in this game. Like, she is not an easy fight if you're not prepared for her.
Yeah. Kudos to the game designers for that one. They did a really good job throwing everything they had at the player. You had to be ready to overcome adversity at this point. And what's so interesting to me is that you've been working all this time for this fight, and now Maleficent is gone, and the game's not over.
Yeah, so what happens after you beat her?
You find out that, I want to say in Riku's words, that Maleficent was just another puppet after all.
Apparently the entire time that she thought that she was making sure not to let the heartless corrupt her heart and to let the darkness take hold of her, she had actually, unbeknownst to her, been a puppet the entire time, had been being used.
Yeah, and it seems to be either the heartless themselves doing it, or whoever it is that's controlling Riku. Did you notice that when Riku steps back into that portal at the end of the cutscene, you can kind of see a larger invisible figure, like there's a shimmer of an outline that's behind him as he's stepping into the portal.
Same thing. It's at first I thought it was like, oh, it's a weird flame effect, and then I realized it was an outline of a person, and I went, ooh, that's not interesting, and then he disappears, and you're left kind of standing there in this arena. That was where we decided to end this playthrough.
For one, we just to get to this point was an hour's worth of discussion because there's just so much to unpack from what all has happened here.
Such a heavy lore and gameplay based level, and we're not even shit. What do you think, Barry? I mean, we're almost halfway through it.
Yeah, I'm starting to remember some of the beats that are going to happen next, but I'm not. It's not crystal clear in my memory, so there's still a lot to be done. I know that much.
Well, we'll delve into that on the next episode. But I mean, was there anything that you picked up recently? I'll say I picked up a new Keyblade because I was going around and I was like, okay, I'm going to, start doing some synthesis style stuff, and I'm going to see like what new items I can pick up. Mm-hmm. And I found a Keyblade that I didn't even know was there.
Which one did you find?
It's in Wonderland.
Oh, you got that one too? You got Lady Luck?
I did get Lady Luck. Yeah.
That's the one I'm using. That's the Keyblade I'm using right now. That one is so strong. I don't remember if I got it before or after the Maleficent fight, but man, that's a wonderful Keyblade. I'm probably going to be using that until I get Ultima Weapon.
So Lady Luck Keyblade is the kind of penultimate Keyblade that you find in the Alice in Wonderland level. And what is it? It's got like the heart symbol from a deck of playing cards as the key tip, and it's got this beautiful kind of pink and yellow pattern. And on the keychain is the Ace of Hearts. It's a really cool Keyblade.
Yeah.
And you can only get it once you acquire the White Trinity. And it's in one of the side rooms of the Lotus Forest of the Wonderland level.
Yeah. Did you spend any more time exploring? Because I realized that I undersold this level. I went back around and explored it again. Because I found at least 3 new maps that I did not visit before when I came back to find this Keyblade.
I did. I thought the exact same thing. Especially where you found Lady Luck. There were so many little, contraptions and puzzle elements of it that I didn't realize were even there. So I was surprised. At first I had thought that Wonderland was a pretty empty level. And I was like, oh no, there's just a lot of depth to this that I can't unlock right now.
Yeah, I think it's so cool the way that they kept using the strange room, that you kept going back there and it's like, this is a new angle. Now it's a completely different room because it's a new angle. You look at it with a new perspective. It's a whole new room.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to them for giving you one of the very first levels you go to and making it seem very simple. And then later on in the game, you realize like, oh no, this is actually a pretty complicated design for a level.
Yeah. So the other thing I think is that I don't know if you did it. I don't know if this is involved in getting the Olympia Keyblade or not, but you can also seal the keyhole to Olympus Coliseum now. I did. Yeah, it's the Yellow Trinity right next to Phil before you go into the tournaments. Yeah, which I think that's so cool, the way that they push to move that aside, and there's the keyhole. It kind of felt like a cool moment. I don't remember if you get anything from that. I mean, I know it's important because we need to, for the big finale, we need to seal all the keyholes, beat the Hades Cup, and I think that's it actually, because we're playing on Proud, but that is important that we go back and do that. Oh, have you been doing the clock in Neverland? I have. I haven't got all of them, but I have been going back and getting the clock items. So I've gotten, I think, a defense up, an AP up, a Mega Elixir, maybe an Orichalcum out of it. Yeah, that sounds right. I know I've got like 11 out of 12 items on that, if I'm being honest. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I've been going back. I'm nonstop almost. Okay. I really need to do a better job of that. That's kind of it for this one. I mean, that's about the majority of what I've been able to do. I've been really going back and finding all like the Trinity marks and stuff that I missed in the last ones, finding a few dark matter pieces and some Orichalcum and synthesis items. This was a good playthrough and a good introduction to what I think Hollow Bastion is about to really throw at us. I know. I'm so excited to jump back in. Yeah, I think this is a great spot to end this episode, and then we will come back as we progress into this very rich and very expansive kind of end the game. Something like it anyway. Something. Well, Kyle, as always, really fun jumping on here with you, man. Absolutely, man. It's been so good. We will have to do this again sometime soon.
Absolutely. And to all you listeners out there, thank you for joining us again, and see you on the next one.
Hey there, Kingdom Hearts fans. Thanks for listening to the episode. Dream Drop Long Distance is hosted by Mitchell Orsino and Kyle Bradshaw, and is produced by Kyle Bradshaw. Our theme music was written and recorded by Alex McLean.